Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Dan Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let's get started with tonight's episode of NXT, reviewing that. And since my camera wasn't able to upload my reaction to yesterday, I'm going to give my quick thoughts on Raw as well. So let's start with tonight's NXT, and I'm going to try and mix it with yesterday. We opened up the show with the new four-time women's tag team champions, Liv Morgan and Rodriguez. I'm thinking of her NXT days, excuse me. Versus Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Now, I found it hilarious that after Liv Morgan got through screaming at the referee, Tatum gave Liv a taste of her own medicine by screaming at her. How you like that, Liv? Backstory, if you haven't seen it, Liv and Raquel are four-time tag team champions because, unfortunately, the reign of Becky Lynch and Valkyria lasted a short period of time, 24 hours. And then Becky Lynch turned on Lyra and attacked her, which leaves me to believe that she is the one who attacked Bayley before WrestleMania Sunday. Also, although Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins had a great WrestleMania weekend, both are a heel couple now, as Seth Rollins turned heel and last night aligned himself not just with Paul Heyman, but with Braun Breaker to stop the attack of CM Punk and Roman Reigns, who are both out for revenge after what happened Saturday. Great match, controversial ending. Of course, Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins might be the new age version of the two-man power trip, similar to Stone Cold Steve Austin and now two-time Hall of Famer, Triple H. Speaking of two-time Hall of Famers, NXT hilariously acknowledged that Booker T fell asleep because apparently Triple H, though had a great speech, the speech was a little long to some people. Just saying. Anyway, moving forward, we also saw Noam Dar return to fight Lexis King after Lexis King got his trophy back from the Magicians of Las Vegas, host of the show Fool Us, which is also on CW. Unfortunately for Lexis King, his mouth wrote a check that his backside couldn't cash, and of course, he went one-on-one with the return of Noam Dar. He wins the NXT Heritage Cup, but he will be going into next week without a championship. Speaking of going into a show with championships, we have Obafemi coming out to celebrate. He gave much respect to Javon Evans, because Javon Evans, I really do agree that his best years are ahead of him. Trick Williams is crashing out like crazy, and I believe he's going heel. Everyone's going heel nowadays. This weekend was the weekend of the heels, I'm just saying. Especially with Stacks attacking Tony D'Angelo and sending Lucas out to the middle of the desert to basically kill him. As far as script is concerned, or should I say unalive? That's the new term today, excuse me. Unalive. Stacks has apparently somewhat unalived Lucas in the middle of the desert. Never asked to meet a crime lord in the middle of the desert or on the middle of a bridge. You just don't do it. Also, we back to Trick Williams. We saw Trick Williams go crazy. Joe Hendry appears, and now we're getting teased to have a match with Joe Hendry and Obafemi. Obafemi did give him a warning, though, not to make the same mistake that Moose did. Very fair point. Because Obafemi would win that match. And if Joe Hendry ever steps up to the ruler will prevail, in my personal humble opinion. Moving forward tonight, we also saw Thea Hale gets a victory over Fallon Henley with a Kimura lock. Of course, legend has it that Chase Yu is freaking back. Speaking of alternative words, I'm also talking about Raw, and let me just say, Randy Orton giving John Cena the RKO. First of all, when John Cena turned around and was like, "Oh shoot," while right before Randy Orton gave the RKO, that was hilarious. I never thought I'd see the day that WWE would cheer for Simp19 Dom. Fans really like to turn things around. It's almost like the fans are in control now. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's almost like they just switch things up. They're not a Cody fan. And I truly believe when Overlord Cody Rhodes comes back, he is literally going to be the Overlord. I can see it right now. Overlord Rhodes dyes his hair black, needs a new theme song because you're not allowed to say, whoa, because he's a heel. Because I'm telling you, after the way fans did him, I truly believe that when Cody Rhodes take his sabbatical, when he's done with his sabbatical, because every time a person loses a championship, they take a sabbatical. But when they take that sabbatical, he's going to come back as Overlord heel Rhodes. But let's talk about the main event of tonight. Tonight's main event, we saw Stephanie Vaquer and Roxanne Perez. Because yesterday, Roxanne Perez and Julia interfered in what could have been a great match between Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer. But of course, a match that good on a show like televised Raw doesn't usually get a finish. So, which is understandable. So it got interfered and the match was ruined, which set them up for tonight. By the way, Booker T is still a happy man. If there's one thing that can keep Booker T awake and keep Booker's T awake is the Devil's Kiss, a move perfected by Stephanie Vaquer, a move that, by the way, was mocked by Charlotte Flair. I would love to see Charlotte Flair versus Stephanie Vaquer now, because Stephanie Vaquer mocked it and got karma because she ended up losing to Tiffany Stratton anyway. Moving forward, great match. In the end, Stephanie Vaquer wins and retains the NXT Women's Championship as Julia poses on the entrance ramp while Jordan Grace is standing somewhere in the audience. Jada Parker was seen interrupting Thea Hale, who was annoyed by her presence, along with Kalani Jordan. But in the end, Stephanie Vaquer reigns supreme. And it's crazy because I know Booker T had to be torn between his favorite wrestler, besides his wife and Lola, and Roxanne Perez, who is actually a former student of Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. So this match must have had Booker T torn, but he was definitely awake. And Booker's T was awake as well. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought about tonight's episode of NXT and last night's Raw, because I couldn't upload it because there was some technical difficulties. In the meantime, I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and that's all the time I have for you today. And I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. And by the way, which night was your favorite? WrestleMania Saturday or WrestleMania Sunday? Let me know what your favorite match was in the comments below. See you next time.